The metaverse is emerging as the next big technology platform, attracting developers, designers, marketers, social networks, and loads of investments. And sure, there's a lot to explore in this space, but there's also lots of substance, insight, development, and exciting trends. Curated by two metaverse futurists, Adi and Tazar, this podcast series brings on Web3 specialists from around the globe who break down the biggest developments and bring on the most interesting insights for our collective future. You will now be entering a metaverse experience. Welcome to the Metacast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Metacast. I'm your host, Adi. Taz, I'm sorry, I got it wrong way around. We have Adi, and we have a special guest today. We have Adam Prosser, founder and director of Maxis, a marketing agency in the Web3, Defi, NFT, and blockchain space. Adam, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Good morning. Good to see you both.
Thank you. As always, it's awesome to have you, Adam. Adam, talk about your career and history in the digital marketing world.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in digital marketing since 2006. I've been involved with several agencies, quite instrumental in their kind of growth and expansion. Really enjoy what I do, which is great. And I guess from 2006, it's quite a long time. You know, I was quite an early person into the industry, really. And before that, I was in print marketing. So I saw the change from print marketing into digital marketing. And that's why I'm so interested and keen in developing from Web 2 to Web 3 in the future.
Wow. Sounds interesting.
I mean, it's just I think, Adam, since you mentioned there has been progression. You've been a part of the journey for a long time itself, because you've been in the marketing space and you've seen the progression from print to digital. We have all seen that, that era where Web 2 was evolving, and then there were so many conversations around there, and people were really intrigued to know more, because it was just not information as in how it was in Web 2, Web 1. Web 2 was about, connecting with people, socializing, sharing more content. Adam, we want to know, since you mentioned that you're moving from Web 2 to Web 3, what's your journey around, the idea of moving into Web 3? What would you like to share in terms of how you see Web 3 as an upcoming space?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, most people that perhaps aren't in the industry don't perhaps see the definition between Web 2 and Web 3. They're potentially using the internet, using social media. They're not aware that those things are classified as Web 2. So I think from the public's point of view, it's just that the fact that the internet is changing and there's so many new opportunities, so many new experiences for people to enjoy. There's new technologies coming through. So, I really just see it as the natural progression from the current kind of state to a future state. And then when you look at all the potential that's there, the things that potentially can improve people's lives, improve communication, entertainment as well. So I think it's really exciting to, be at the forefront of how the internet is changing and what new developments are coming along.
Wow.
Yeah.
In terms of developments, Adam, what do you see in in the digital marketing space? Because of course, when we measure performance and we understand brands in a Web 2 state, it's usually there are metrics that take the consumer into a different journey altogether. When it comes to engagement, it comes to brand awareness and conversions. Is there a difference that you see in the Web 3 state when you talk about the metaverse and how things have been going around with different brands implementing their own changes, also including NFTs? There has been a different wave altogether with conversations around that. What do you think would be the new customer journey that we're seeing here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's again, it's so interesting and exciting because if you think of the potential that's there at the moment, you've probably got 150 million, maybe 200 million crypto wallets in existence. You've got effectively a very small niche as opposed to the billions of people that are on the planet. So, you know, as people become more and more aware, I think if you stopped people in the street, you know, a majority of people wouldn't even know what an NFT potentially is, or what the benefits of it are to them, or they might be slightly hesitant, potentially scared of it. It might be a term they've heard, but they're kind of don't want to adopt it. So as that moves into ticketing and something that everyone's experiencing in the future, everyone's utilizing, you know, it's such an exciting time. I think there's going to be so many developments that come out. The speed of change is going to be really quick. So I think from a marketing point of view, there's a huge education piece that needs to be done with consumers, so that really they potentially will be using these things in the future without actually knowing they're using them. So you know, it will just be mass adoption. People will become accustomed to attending events using an NFT, perhaps not even realizing that it is an NFT. It will just be a new way of gaining access, having exposure to things and being able to attend things. They'll see the benefits, and they potentially won't even be aware of the technical side of what sits behind it.
Yeah, I agree, Adam. I think I raised it in the second podcast with Julian Paredes, the fact that NFTs are certificate of authentication. It's not necessarily just a JPEG, as we're seeing at this point in time. It could be, like you said, tickets. It could be comic books that are like quite rare. It could be a watch, a watch that's worth a lot. It lets people know, hang on, this is the real piece. So you could say it's a perfect technology to prevent fraud. And you know, like I've bought tickets in the past from third parties, and I'm always skeptical if the ticket's authentic or not. Am I going to turn up at the gate and it's, you know, I'm going to be refused entry because it's not a real ticket? But I think that's where I think NFT plays its the greatest impact on society when focusing on the macro. But it's about educating people. Digital wallets is so foreign to a lot of people. They're like, hang on, I'm going to put money in this and it's decentralized. And if I lose my money, then hang on, am I gonna be able to get a refund on it? It's so that decentralized factor of it is quite scary for a lot of people at this point in time. And I think there's a bridge to gap.
A huge education piece that needs to happen, and I think people need to see the benefits, see what you know, gains can be made for them. Why should they want to be involved in it? Why should they, you know, just kind of jump into that world? Like you said, could be a bit hesitant initially. I think if the example you took, you know, you mentioned a watch. I think there's such an opportunity for manufacturers as well. So, you know, if somebody's got an asset like a watch, they could have a digital certification that is, you know, a real product. From the manufacturer's point of view, they'll be able to see when that watch is, you know, sold over potentially, you know, decades in the future. They'll be able to know who's still got that watch. They could market now to a new person who's the owner of that product and interested in their brand. So there's huge opportunities for manufacturers as well as the person who does actually own that digital asset as well.
Yep, I agree. I agree, Adam. Just want to touch up on, what do you think the important lessons are from Web 2 when moving into the Web 3 space, from marketing?
This is actually a huge piece that I think a lot of people underestimate, because like we said already, there's such an education piece that needs to be completed so that people are comfortable to move into using Web3 products. They're currently so used to Web 2 social media and Web 2 products and interacting, you know, on that level, that bridging the gap between the two needs to be completely seamless. I think if you want to sell your product to a market that is Web3 native, they're familiar with those products and they're you know, comfortable using that, then that's fine, that's great. But the mass market is still very much in Web 2. So it's really important that people are coming with a marketing strategy that really covers all the bases in terms of Web 2 to Web 3, and there's an education through that marketing and a transition so that people can become even more comfortable with their use of Web3 products. I think a really big thing from our side as well is we've had a lot of experience in SEO over the years, and we have a lot of intellectual property, a lot of knowledge in SEO. We've invested hugely in research and development over the years to develop that. And when you're looking at a Web3 market, a lot of people are using decentralized browsers. So they won't actually be seeing adverts. So SEO is going to be even more important for a lot of businesses to make sure that their product, their service is coming up at the top of a decentralized browser, and their target market is getting exposed and becoming aware of their products when they're not going to potentially see adverts when they're doing searches for those items.
Yeah, I think that, and that's actually a really good step, going back from pushing on the ads for Google for SEM to going, to strengthening your SEO in a Web3 space. Honestly, I think this is a really good realization for a lot of brands to focus on their content, focus on how they're structuring themselves as a brand itself in the digital space. And as you rightly said, Adam, this is going to be like something which is going to put a lot of strategists on the front foot when they have to, take care of things in the Web3 space. Because for us, it's like going back to fundamental. This like, you're gonna fix up your SEO on a good level to before you progress with ads how you used to do in the web 2 space. So yeah, I think there's gonna be a massive change around with things. And
Adam,
yeah,
I just want to ask Adam a question around this. Adam, I'm curious, what sort of strategies are you seeing right now that are paying dividends when it comes to comes to this from your point of view?
I think for us, we come up with a tailored strategy for each business. So it really does depend on the product that you're trying to sell. And you would tailor that strategy around the target market and exactly who is the ideal market for that product. So it does vary quite dramatically, but I would almost say at this stage, actually, it's a lot of the Web2 marketing that probably is more critical. Still, it's getting the fundamentals that we're all used to and familiar with in place, getting those right, and then also laying Web3 marketing over the top of that. So you do really have a completely joined up strategy. Like I say, it will vary by the product, but it's really important to make sure that every base is covered. That's really critical.
Yeah, I agree. It's not enough just to call yourself a Web3 native company and feel that's enough to promote your product. There has to be a strategy in place to deal with the mass, and that's the Web2 consumers at this point in time. So I agree, Adam. I think that's definitely interesting.
The mass market is definitely still in Web2. The majority of consumers are still in Web2. So whilst we can very quickly go after a Web3 market, because you can see exactly where those people are, what tools they're using, Discord, similar, but a lot of people in Web2 probably are not familiar with those things, and they're not comfortable with them, they're not using them on a consistent basis. So, the mass market, definitely, you need to appeal to that with tools that they're currently familiar with. And that means that you've got a strategy that's completely joined up and covers every base.
I read some of the best Web3 strategies are ones that don't even mention Web3. They just solve a problem, and the users don't even know they're a Web3 product.
I completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a sticker on my laptop that says "Sell the problem you solve, not the product." Maybe that's what I'm going to realize when I'm going to go through Web3.
That's a nice one,
But,
Eddie.
yeah, Adam, of course, you have mentioned so much insight in terms of the insight that we need to have, when transitioning into Web3 space. Of course, there are a lot of people, even people like me, who are trying to understand how I progress into the Web3 space in terms of digital marketing. What advice would you like to share with people who are in education or currently practicing and trying to get more insight out as to how they want to start their progression and their journey into Web3 spaces?
Yeah, definitely. I think your last comment really is key. Keep it simple in terms of the way that you communicate with people. You need to communicate the real benefits of exactly what you're offering. You don't want to baffle people with silence, but you with baffle people with science and things they don't understand. You want a really strong, clear message of exactly what your proposition is and what the benefits are, or what problem it might solve, or what advantages there are from that. And I think it's so important that you really get that clear, so that when you do approach the market, you've got a really clear message. There are so many opportunities right now, career opportunities, marketing opportunities. Is such an exciting space and growing so quickly that you need to approach that with a really clear and concise message, and put that across very clearly.
I agree. I'm a big fan of Dragon's Den and like a Shark Tank, the American equivalent. And honestly, the best pitches are the ones that can explain their product or service in the most simplest form. And those are the ones that attract investors, and those are the ones that end up doing very well further down the line. So it's the same concept with Web3. Web2 philosophies and principles can be directly linked to Web3. It's not a new foreign domain that nobody's used to. It's the same principle, just adapted to different emerging technologies, and that's what people sort of have to understand when they're creating something new.
Definitely, yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah,
100%. I think that's what even I did when I was in uni back in the days, because when we used to get our projects in digital marketing from on a Web2 basis, you just had a thought. You're like, okay, what could I do in Web3 that could really change the perspective? What could I mean, if there could be an element that could change a thing about how I do things within the Web3 space and use the fundamentals of Web2, that could be a game changer. I think that's what a lot of people are also looking at. It's just that there's so much at this very early stage that we can experiment on and find out as to for our own sakes, and to develop this communication within a community that you can do a lot. I mean, that's what I think what we're all trying to experience at the same time. And Adam has shared so many good insights with us right now that
sure.
I'm excited. I'm like, okay, whatever I've done right now, I think I'm seeing a good future.
I think
so. Yeah, I'm just feeling more confident.
It's being in the arena, and it's about trial and error, and that's how you're gonna learn at this point. You can't come 5-10 years down the line and join the herd and expect to create something revolutionary. Everyone that's putting their digital footprint right now will reap the rewards further down the line. It's a process of trial and error. No one's gonna get this right like first time.
Yeah.
But the ones that stay for the long haul and improvise and iterate their business model will be the ones that end up gaining a good market share in their industry, in their chosen industry. Adam, I just wanted to talk about what are some exciting projects you're currently working on right now.
Yeah, we're working across a really diverse number of projects, actually. We are working on some NFT projects with people in the sports industry. They're really exciting. You mentioned community, Addy. We're building up communities to make them aware of those products, but there's so many benefits to the community, and I guess opportunities to expose them to events and to exclusive products and things that they couldn't necessarily get access to before. We're working with quite a few digital apps that relate to cryptocurrency, and not only sort of how you can trade those and follow the value of those, but also how you can interact with them, and really making it again simple for the consumer, trying to remove barriers so that people can get involved and feel comfortable to get into this new market and become aware of these new products. So we're really working with a big range of different manufacturers and different projects at the moment. There's some I can't say too much about, but it's definitely a really exciting time, and we're so pleased that really we can be at the forefront of that. It's really great for us to get involved with so many new and exciting things.
That sounds incredible, Adam. Honestly, there's one thing from all of that really caught my eye was sports and NFT. And those are sports I love. I'm an absolute massive football fan, and I'm trying to see how NFT plays a picture in the sports industry. So maybe you could touch up a little bit, maybe not too much in detail if you're not able to, but where do you see this heading?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the industry term is that everyone uses is what's the utility, with that NFT.
Yeah.
We've kind of really broke that down, and why should people go and buy something that they're not used before, they're perhaps not familiar with, and they perhaps find something slightly scary. So you really got to put across exactly what the benefits are to those individuals that are your target market. So we're working on projects that, to go back to utility, will give people utility in the real world. Like I said, they might get opportunity to attend events that people wouldn't normally get access to. They might get exclusive shirts. They can attend online events in the metaverse or in Web2 products to, talk about matches and games and competitions that are going on. So really, I think the biggest thing from that side in terms of what we're working on is all related to access. And that's really exciting because it gives people to have an opportunity to get access to players and athletes that they wouldn't have kind of dreamt of that before. So it really does give that exclusivity that makes all the difference.
That sounds so interesting. As a football fan, if I had that sort of opportunity to get closer to the club, get personal through whatever means, honestly, that's something I would definitely sign up for. And I can definitely see, football is an area where there's so many passionate fans up and down the country that would love to get a little closer to the club by whatever means. And I definitely see NFT providing that utility for them. So
Definitely.
it's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible to hear that, Adam. Honestly.
Yeah, and the great thing is, as somebody who's going to purchase that digital access, digital asset to get all of that access that we mentioned and get all of those benefits, because they are going to be limited in number, the NFT is going to be increasing in value as well. So if you ever decide that you want to sell that, then obviously that value that where you came in at is going to be so much higher in time. So there's an opportunity to get the appreciation and get the benefit of what that asset is worth. So NFT gives an opportunity that hasn't really been available to people before. But I think with the ones we're working on, very few people will be selling them in the future because once they've got that and they've had that experience, there's so many benefits to them that they will want to keep hold of it.
Me and Addy were talking about it a few days ago, Addy. Like in 10 years' time, everybody is going to pull up their own NFT digital wallet and say, "I've been to this event, I've been to that," and it's a collection of what you've done and what you've experienced. It's your brand. It's your brand being showcased in the most simplest form. I have football tickets that date back many years ago, big events that I absolutely adore and cherish. But if there was a platform for me to express that, to showcase, Addy, look, I've been to this match. I saw this player. I was there. That's something that I would definitely want to sign up for, and that's where NFT comes into everything.
Yeah,
That's
fantastic.
true. And the fact that, there's so much association with the brand, especially through sports, the amount of, the loyalty that you have with the brand or even a sports club, I think it's a really, really good way for acquisitions, for user acquisition and onboarding into Web3, because that's really a place where even if you have that asset that you retain, there's so much aspirational value within the community where you're involved and you have that asset. So it builds so many conversations and you're seen as a different person, as a different identity who has more value because you have a different level of association with the club. That's what we're probably going to see in the future. I don't know. I mean, I'm
100%.
not a fan of football, but if I were to be associated with a club, I would love to do that. Honestly,
it differentiates the people that love football through just their sofa to the hardcore fans that want to get up and close with the club and get personal with the manager, the players, the board, whoever's in charge of that club. They have it's not just a name they're associated with; it's a face. I know. So it provides a whole different personal experience.
If you take football as an example, it's like you said, it's a whole part of people's personality, what club they support. Often it's something that follows through a family or a community for generations. So it's a big part of how people represent themselves and the club they're associated with. And I think even from the club side, you know, the benefit of the club understanding their fans more in more detail and understanding their behavior, understanding what they would like more of from the club, perhaps what they like less of, what other products and opportunities there are for the club to promote different things to their fans. So really it is a win-win. You know, there's benefits on every side.
I've seen a few Premier League clubs like Arsenal and Manchester City are quite heavily invested into this space, that are really trying to push the Web3, the metaverse, all these emerging technologies, and see how it could benefit them as a club. So it's nice to see that they are people that are playing this game for the long run. Yeah, and I think that'll trickle down to like the other clubs as well.
Yeah,
over time.
it's such early days at the moment. So imagine all the exciting things that will be around the corner when there is mass adoption.
Yeah, 100%.
That's true. I'm looking forward to that, man. I'm looking forward to being a part of the community.
Honestly,
For sure.
it's such an exciting space, and honestly, I wake up in the morning thinking about Web3, the metaverse. I sleep, I think about it. It's in my head always, and I think it's people like us that will educate the masses and get them to understand. Hang on, it's not just a JPEG. Hang on, it's not just a short-term project that's essentially going to take your money and not provide you any sort of utility. This is here for the long run. It will impact all industries across all different sectors, and you will benefit from it in a very good way. It's not just a dystopian world that some people are perceiving it to be.
Yeah.
But because we see it from a different perception, a different paradigm shift, it's our job to educate people on this. And I'm so glad, Adam, we've done this. And honestly, it's been incredible. The fact that we've actually, the fact that we've set up I don't know if we're the first podcast to have in the VR space, but honestly, this is very unique. And I one day, Adam, will have you here. I promise you. You will sit next to us.
That'd be good. I'll do that, yeah.
Probably a couple of pints as well on the table.
Honestly, I wish.
Adam, I wanted to ask a question. Of course, you're seeing transitions. We spoke about a lot of stuff, and of course, you shared a lot of it to how we are supposed to, manifest and strategize our approach to moving into Web3 space. How do you define Web3? What, like, in your own words, what do you feel people should know in terms of a definition or a perspective towards Web3? What would you say in that case?
Yeah, that is a tough question because obviously there's so many areas that are going to be evolving and changing and improved, from the Web3 side. I think from our point of view, we spend a lot of time, like I mentioned, just trying to make it clear for people. So I think, as I said, it's quite hard to define the space as a whole. But what's really important from a marketing point of view is, as you take your products and services in the future to consumers, it's really important that your messaging is clear, that you've got clear benefits to the community or the users of your product. And it's really important that you can educate them about the benefits of their product without necessarily mentioning Web3, just telling them the new sort of benefits that are there, the new way that they can interact with those products, and really keeping it simple and easy for people, and with the support of the community that you're building around those products, you can make people feel comfortable to jump into Web3 products without necessarily knowing that they're doing it.
Very well said, Adam. Very well said.
I think it's a clear, indication, as you mentioned. It's like you're taking the consumer through the whole education phase to the experience phase. That's amazing. That's something that even I would want to be a part of if I'm seeing, brands like Ready Player Me and all the other brands that are coming up. Of course, Starbucks, what they did with Polygon technology. It's so much of a question for a lot of people as to understanding what it really means, but they might not be even knowing it, and they're already a part of it, and we're just experiencing a boom in itself.
I have this sense, intuitive sense that at the moment, Web3 and the metaverse is sort of becoming an exclusive club with acronyms that the average Joe would not understand. And that's
Yeah.
what we want to deter away from. We want to get people to understand it, break it down to its most simplest form. So when someone reads an article, they understand what's going on, rather
Yeah.
than, oh, what does that mean? What does, oh, I've lost it, I'm out.
Mm. And
So
people, you know, if
yeah.
people go in a shop today and they purchase something with their debit card, and they don't think about doing that and that process, and they have no idea about the technology that sits behind to facilitate all of those transactions, millions that happen in every day on every high street around the country and around the globe. So, you know, they don't necessarily want to know about that, but they enjoy the convenience and the benefits of being able to walk in, tap your card and take the product and walk away. So in a similar way with Web3, as people interact with products and they're making purchases and they're doing that in a very different new way, really you just want to make them feel comfortable, make them feel that the benefits of that product are clear, and make them have a desire to purchase it. So really, you know, you kind of want to stay away from some of the technology in your messaging, but you just want to put across the benefits to the consumer.
Like you said, Adam, Web2 principles and philosophies still apply to Web3 products and services.
Definitely.
Making it as simple as possible for the user to understand what this is. Ease of access is fundamental.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
yeah. Anything else, Adi?
Definitely. I think, Adam, it was an excellent session today. I mean, of
Honestly.
course, for a lot of digital marketers, including me, I am a budding digital marketer myself. It's really important to know these things for people like us. I think this community we have been pondering the thought of the metaverse, of Web3, of DeFi, of NFTs, but there's so much information that's coming through. I think conversations like these are the real directions that people should be looking at to have a perspective of how they want to grow in this space.
Agreed.
And Adam, it is all because of people like you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you for inviting me. I've really enjoyed speaking with you, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you guys over the last couple of weeks as well. So thanks a lot.
We can definitely do something in the future, Adam. But let's just try to get you one of these seats next time.
One of these, yeah.
I promise you, it's a whole different immersive experience.
And hopefully I'll see you at some kind of real world Web3 events as well in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's some.
We're planning to be there. Yeah. We just want people to invite us. Invite us. Come on. We're doing a lot of sessions now. but yeah. And Adam, we have like a sneak peek or maybe an Easter egg. We're actually going to put up a poster right there in the back, and we'll probably just send an invite to Mark Zuckerberg by saying, Mark, just invite us now. You know, we're using your space.
But you might just pop in randomly at some point with, hey guys, I'm here.
Yeah.
His Oculus is his world.
I mean, of course, I'm just gonna be like Sue.
Sue, yes.
Yeah. And I mean that's why we want to keep like a fun vibe. And Adam, of course, these insights, we will be creating, so much of information and education around this concept.
Yeah.
And of course, let's have you here with us, man, with the pint. And of course, we're gonna meet you really soon in the real world as well.
In real world,
yeah.
Let's keep this connection going.
Also,
sure.
Adam. Thank
you so much, Adam. Yeah.
Thank you.
Guys, we'll catch up on another episode on next week with more insights, more content, and yeah, I mean, it's going so well. So thank you so much, guys. The sessions will be available on Spotify as well if you don't want to see us as avatars, but you like to see us as avatars, so watch this as well. But yeah,
definitely.
Thank you so much, guys. We'll be back with another episode next week. This is Taza and me, your host, Adi. And once again, thank you so much, Adam, for joining us.
Thank
Great.
you.
Cheers, Adam.
Bye-bye.